Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, here we go. This Thursday, Cofield and Company. Beginning of not even August, and the Cofield Road shows have begun. In studio is Willie Ramirez, Brandy Flores. I am in parts unknown, although I'll fill you in a little bit. Cofield and Company here on a Thursday right here on ESPN Las Vegas. Remember, later on we'll have another keyword of the day for our Lotus Summer of Fun, and then concert giveaways. Sylvie's doing an unbelievable job with the concert giveaways. So we've got AC/DC, Win Them Before You Can Buy Them, and Guns N' Roses. Willie, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Brandy and I were just talking a little bit ago. I mean, we're in the thick of the Aces in another potential championship run, and by the way, the Raiders start next week. Yeah. So I mean, and also we are less than 2 months away from Golden Knights training camp. So, yeah. Hello.
41 days until UNLV opens its college football season, so I'll be out at the first practices in the middle of next week. Brandy, how are you?
I'm good. As Willie was saying, this week is the calm before the storm, to where we lose track of days and how many days in a row we've worked and all that. But all exciting, because the fall time is the most exciting time ever to work in sports, as you guys know.
So this week I'm around a bunch of old friends, and they ask what we do for radio in Las Vegas, and I tell them, hey, like 15 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, it was all different. Things have completely changed, and while there may have been tons of room to talk Aces and UNLV in the past, now we've got so many Major League sports coming to town with the A's and the NBA on the way. And, the other thing that has become sort of a Major League conversation is our buildings. And I thought today was really interesting because last week, I'm sure Brandy saw it, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, NBA Summer League, and there was a small poster. It wasn't much of a setup. I think they probably could have done a better job. Maybe they just stuck it in there and no one saw it. But there was a poster out there, Willie, a poster board for the Diamond Arena.
Yep.
And the Diamond Arena has been this project. If you guys notice, on our socials, we put up a little bit about potential arenas and stadiums, but it's good engagement farming, but it's kind of nonsense because Willie and I have been through this years and years and years about this site's going to have an arena, this site's going to have a stadium. So the Diamond Arena, the mock-up looks pretty good, and it's on. I didn't even know it was called this, but those two pillars that were supposed to be the Skyview Ferris wheel across from Mandalay Bay. People are calling those the Pillars of Doom. I guess a failed site. Well, that's coveted property over there. And I think Diamond Arena had their sights set on that, and they had some sort of tunnel out to the Executive Airport, so the proximity was going to be cool. It's right at the end of the Strip, a short walk from Allegiant Stadium. And then we see today that Clark County approved some sort of a casino project. Now, the mock-up is sort of crazy looking. It's a hotel that's got a long walkway, like a Fremont dome on it, sort of like Bally's. And then the hotel has a big heart on the top of it. I have no idea what the theme would be. I don't know what this is, but it's very interesting as, land becomes more scarce up on the Strip, Brandy, that people want these pieces of property. So I have no idea what's going to happen with this Diamond Arena. I don't know if they have backup sites. I don't know if they're going to win the battle, if this is going to be a casino project, but it's kind of intriguing right now. They're like this land rush to try to get land to build your arena or new stadium if MLS comes too.
Yeah, I'm looking at the mock-up, and you're right. It is pretty wild. It looks like it's a giant heart, and on either side there's rooms. That's pretty interesting. I don't think that looks like something that would be like in Dubai or something. Like that's how like kind of otherworldly that is. Right. But yeah, I mean they're definitely in a rush. It makes sense because the NBA team is coming, and we don't even know who's going to own the team yet or how that's going to work. But especially in Summer League, hearing Adam Silver talk about the proposals and everything, one thing that really stuck out was he said, yeah, there are a lot of these ownership groups that are proposing to own the Vegas team are coming with plans of a new arena. So will that be something that's very attractive for the NBA to have their own space, even though T-Mobile is there, and in my opinion, they should stay at T-Mobile. But that's neither here or there. I think that will change also if Bill Foley ends up becoming the owner of the new NBA team as well.
What I want to know is, are we going in this ugly direction that the Hard Rock with the vertically erect guitar, and now this hotel with a heart, is this the new look of Las Vegas? Because I really don't like it.
You don't like the guitar?
I just don't like the idea that we're having all these shapes around town. Just build a building, build a hotel. But the shapes are kind of, I don't know. It's not my thing. You know what? Here's the problem. You know, in our business, we call old dinosaurs that are still trying to make sense of and, you know, want people to buy a subscription to a news. We call ourselves curmudgeons. Steve's a curmudgeon. I'm a curmudgeon to a degree. I am a Las Vegas curmudgeon. Give me the dunes, the old Caesar's Palace, not the new. Give me the sands and the Sahara and the Desert Inn. Now, I enjoy that we've seen corporate infusion and add economy to this town and help bring professional sports. I get it. But I'm just an old school Vegas guy. And now if this is the new phase, it's like, oh, man, a whole nother. What is next? I mean, I don't know. I haven't gotten used to it. But it's to me it's a sign. Like, okay, we have a guitar. Now we're going to put a heart. What's next? What's going to be the? Hey, I know. Let's get the next hotel have a club, and then maybe we'll do one with a spade, and then we'll do one with a diamond, and now we'll have 4 different hotels. It'll be the deck of cards.
That would actually be cool, but if it was like a bunch of 4 different buildings,
right?
in
All one property.
Yeah.
But okay. So to your point, though, you don't think that when they were first inventing Vegas and there was the New York, and a giant Eiffel Tower and Caesar's Palace, that people didn't think the way you thought, and look, it became what
The
Vegas
first
is
when
now.
Yeah, Willie was here.
Wait.
Willie, do you remember what you thought at the time of the Mirage and like beach themes and
The Mirage was the entry port to the resort, and I never would have thought that the Mirage, because the only thing that was the Mirage was sort of the opening to the resort era in Las Vegas, but the big attraction was just the volcano. That's it. So it wasn't like, oh, I saw these monstrosities. Like when you say the beginning of Vegas, like New York was well in, and we were like, oh, wait a minute. And like I'm talking about, like Caesars looks nothing like the original Caesars. Mm-hmm. Dunes Hotel, which is where Bellagio was, the stretch between I-15 from Flamingo to Trop behind the dunes was a golf course all the way down. Now it is what it is. So I'm used to yes, I can sit here and talk about everything that I remember from back then and you know, talk about old Vegas and the picturesque of those classic hotels. Did I ever envision what it was going to be like? Absolutely not. You know, and as it continued to grow, I think more so than the Mirage, when I said, okay, we're becoming a spectacle, and I've told this story plenty of times, is when Steve Wynn stood on top of the pirate ship at Treasure Island for the grand opening and counted backwards from 10 to 1 to have the captain of the pirate ship fire the cannon, which they did fire a cannon in the direction of Flamingo, and at the same time, and they broadcast it on all the news stations, which you can still find this on YouTube, and when they got to 1, they fired the cannon at Treasure Island, and they demolished and imploded the dunes. Because he had bought that. So they put it all together. We'll open Treasure Island, we'll fire the cannon, we'll demolish the dunes, and then Bellagio came, and that's what he built there. So that, to me, was more the sign of times changing, not the Mirage being built. And I was like, okay, this town is now becoming a huge show.
I'm with Brandy. I'm up for anything as wild as we can get. I do think it is funny because the guitar is gigantic.
It's so cool.
I do think it is funny that there are Las Vegas people like Willie who are like, okay, now we're getting too gaudy. Now we're getting too gaudy.
You know what I'm getting?
Where do we
I'm
draw
all
the
for
line?
crazy creativity, and we need new draws. And hell, there was a plan. By the way, think about it. One of the most coveted pieces of property on the Strip, but I'm guessing the price is way too high right now. The Frontier has been gone a long time, and if you look at the Frontier, next to the the Fashion Show Mall. I always get the Fashion Show and Boulevard confused with the names. But that piece of property is gigantic. So that could be a coveted piece of property. Wet and Wild could be the Las Vegas Festival grounds down by the Sahara and the Strat. Could be an area that people want to build on. So it's going to be really interesting. Back to Brandy's point about 8 minutes ago. On the NBA arena, if Foley doesn't get the team, are they going to want to lease the space from Foley? Probably not. They're going to want to have their own money-making entity. Brandy, sit tight because I know you're going to be out and about at Raiders camp. Willie will be there too. I want to talk about the rookies. Breaking news today, Fernando Mendoza finally signs his deal. Now, this was not a Jamarcus Russell type thing because that one lasted actually right into the beginning of the season or late in the preseason, so many years ago. But let's talk about Mendoza. Let's talk about the rookies reporting tomorrow right here on Cofield and Company.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, rolling on here on this Thursday, Cofield and Company. Steve with Brandy Flores and Willie Ramirez. All right, Brandy, the Fernando Mendoza deal is done, and he's got a boatload of money fully guaranteed at over $57 million.
Yes, I know that a lot of people were somewhat concerned about him signing the contract. It was reported that it was his signing bonus, that he wanted all of it up front, and the Raiders normally do 70% up front, they get the rest later. So there is no information, however, on whether or not he got that full amount up front or what. As far as the signing bonus is concerned, of course, is what I'm talking about. But either way, he signed it, and so in good timing because rookies reported to training camp today. So glad they got that out of the way. All the rookies for the Raiders have officially been signed, and they're ready to go, and I'm excited for training camp. This will be my first training camp with the Raiders. Not my first NFL training camp, but I'm excited to see all the pieces that we've been talking about and the excitement. Is that going to translate? And what are we going to see when we get out onto the practice fields, Willie?
I'm kind of excited about this relationship between Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza because I've been saying this, that I don't think that they could have asked for a better mentor. Only because Kirk Cousins has somewhat become used to this. I mean, we saw him on the quarterback show. We've seen how he's, been brought in the past and then had to take a step back. So I think it's perfect because right now it's up front where what he's being relied upon for in terms of a brand new coaching staff. So he's not just coming in with, high expectations. He's coming in with the staff that's learning on the fly, if you will, and building just as quickly as this roster is. I mean, Max Crosby is the biggest name here, and but a lot of these other names are building with Kubiak and his staff. So I'm excited to see how that dynamic's going to work because I think that Kirk Cousins is going to sort of step in that role in an advantageous way and take some pride in building that and then sort of handing it off to Fernando Mendoza, who's going to be learning right there with them, and he's going to have no problem doing it. I think it's a very special and unique relationship that everybody's on the same page about. Nobody's going to be salty about. Fernando Mendoza's fine with waiting for his turn and learning as they go and understanding that, hey, you may not start, you may not play, you may not even see time this year. Who knows? Whatever the case is, everybody's accepting of it. So, and I really do believe that all of the sentiments we've heard are genuine.
Yeah, and especially hearing from Fernando and kind of picking his brain during these early OTA sessions and what he thinks of Kirk. He is a sponge, as everybody has said. And everybody kind of says the same thing about Fernando. It's not an act. That's how he is. He is that genuine. I think the most personality that was less PR, I guess, that we saw of him was when he went on Max Crosby's podcast, and they kind of had a 45-minute conversation just talking about football, how they lead on the field, his college career. And he was definitely a more toned-down version of what we see on the podium, but he is still very much just like that. And I think him being able to be humble enough, even though he is the first overall pick and he is expected to have this pressure to help turn this franchise around. I love the way the Raiders are adding Kirk Cousins, who is a veteran. And not to mention, too, you mentioned Clint Kubiak, who was his offensive coordinator when he was in Minnesota, which is arguably one of Kirk Cousins when he had his really great year in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be great as well. But in the little time that they talked about it, their relationship and how Kirk is teaching and mentoring, it comes a little bit more natural to him. As you mentioned, he's a veteran. We saw him on the Quarterback Netflix show. And Mendoza is very much trying to just learn and learn and learn. But Kubiak did make it very clear that Kirk Cousins is the guy, but he's not expecting him to be a mentor. He literally said, I just want him to play football and help us win games. I don't but of course, he is the bridge quarterback and that is his role, as we all know. But the main concern for this team is they're going to try to win as much games as possible, which might be an uphill battle. But I mean, from the way they've constructed this roster in the offseason through the draft, with the additions in free agency, they kind of like a lot of the guys that they have right now, and they've signed quite a few returners as well to one-year deals. So it'll be very interesting to see how that all kind of comes together. Obviously, I was not here watching the team practice last year. I'm not sure if you were Willie or you, Steve, but watching the team this year, the way they operate, the way the coaches are hyping them up, being aggressive, pushing them to be faster, move quicker, and just be quick, and very intense, even in early OTAs, which is like the more, okay, we're still learning. I think that that's a very positive sign.
Rookies are in tomorrow. Who's the rookie you're looking for? Because I know that the guy who's going to get a lot of headlines on social media is Jermod McCoy because they signed him, but I don't know that he's going to play anytime soon. Will he need more surgery? Is he the guy you're looking for, or are there other rookies you're looking for?
Well, Jermod McCoy, he's, as far as we know right now, what's being reported is he is healthy and he will be there, full participant during training camp, but they are going to be very easing him back into it because, as you mentioned, his knee injury, and I think they're taking a very slow approach when it comes to that because he does have the potential to be a very, very good defensive back in this league, and the Raiders, not needing to win right away, as we all keep talking about all offseason, really want to nurture him in that way. So, and make sure they take his time so they don't injure him further and not rush him back onto the field. So he's definitely going to be one to look out for if there are any fans going out to training camp to try to see if maybe he is limited reps or how involved is he at practice. And so him for sure, but another defensive back is Traden Stukes. I mean, he is an absolute dog. He is already, during the OTA periods that we saw in the media, which we see a very small portion, he was getting in there with first team reps. They were sprinkling him in there, and he is extremely athletic as well. So I think that he's going to be one to watch for sure. I think that the entire position group of the defensive backs, not only the rookies, I think that's going to be one to watch. The Raiders drafted and re-signed a lot of defensive backs, which I think is a need. There was a need for every position group, if we're being honest, for this team coming into this year. But I think getting so many of these talented DBs so young is a great idea, especially when they went and got Teron Johnson, who was on the Bills, a veteran. They have Jeremy Chin, who's coming back, and then, of course, Eric Stokes. They can really help lead that rookie class, and so I'm really excited to see all of them. Dalton Johnson, as we mentioned, Jermod McCoy, and Hezekiah Massis as well. So it's going to be the DBs are going to be an underrated group to watch, just because it's going to be very interesting to see how these young guys adapt so quickly into the NFL.
Rookies in on the 23rd, so that's coming up tomorrow. 28th, just 5 days away.
23rd is today.
23rd is today. I'm off. So today, rookies in. 5 days from now, 28th. Groups that I'm interested in seeing: wide receivers. Is there going to be someone who can actually step up? We won't know until the season, but maybe we see it in the preseason. Who's highly targeted by Kirk Cousins aside from Brock Bowers? Is there a 60 or 70 catch receiver in this group? Is it Trey Tucker? Could it be Speedy Naylor, who they paid a lot of money to, and I'm sure he's expecting to take a step forward in terms of targets?
No, to your point, I think Jalen Naylor is going to be that guy, quote unquote. Right now, the Raiders, they're not really concerned about finding a wide receiver too, which is why they didn't sign any of the big free agents that were available this offseason. However, I do think that this is a good opportunity for Jalen Naylor. He came from the Vikings, kind of not sitting behind, but second fiddle, I guess you could say, to Justin Jefferson. So this is his first real chance to take a big step in his own career. And he's talked about that multiple times and how he wants to set himself apart. And a team like the Raiders, that's a perfect opportunity because obviously Brock Bowers, they're going to put him everywhere. But he is going to be the number one target. But they do need to take that pressure off of him because every single team is going to be looking to cover Brock Bowers. So you got to find somebody else. And I think Jalen Naylor, another great year for Trey Tucker to step up as well. And Jack Besh, I think this is a good opportunity for him to step up as well. It's kind of wide open, as you kind of mentioned, in terms of another wide receiver who can take a big leap or take a big step and make contributions for this team. Jack Besh, I think, could do a lot better this year, and they need him to. So it'll be interesting to see if and which ones take this opportunity, because I think it'd be a really good one for anybody. But I think what is also nice is the preach of competition and putting them all together and putting them against each other. I love to see that because that just makes everybody want to play better when you have somebody right on your tail coming in to take your reps, your spot, your catches, all of that. So I love all of it. I say everybody fight.
I like what they're doing. I like the way they have it set up because it's sink or swim time for especially the second-year guys and other young receivers. They can sign old receivers in the middle of camp or at the beginning of the season. So, yeah, Jack Bash has to overcome a lot of his struggles last year were mental struggles. So hopefully he, in the offseason, got refreshed, is confident. They've got some big targets. They drafted the kid out of Oregon. Obviously, last year, the 6'4" kid out of Tennessee. So, Willie, I like the mix. They're trying to win, but they cannot do what they did last year when Pete Carroll kept bringing in veteran receivers or old receivers. Let these guys play, and let's see what you have, and then you move on. You make a decision.
Well, I think the best thing about this roster, this team, the makeup of the entire organization, is in years past, if you think about it, Steve, since this team has gotten here, it's always been a win-now mentality with a can't-win-now roster. I mean, that's been it point blank, right? You think about it when Antonio Pierce was the coach, Pete Carroll, hey, no, we're coming in here to win. We're coming in here. There was pressure on those guys. There's no pressure on these guys to win. Yeah, we want to, but hey, you don't have to.
Brandy's here. Brandy's going to be out at most of the Raider practice. I don't want to promise, that she's going to be out there every day. She's not going to be out there every day. But,
Brandy, you be co-hosting every day.
You know what? I'm missing one day for sure. But other than that, I'm hosting.
Just leave the studio.
I'm co-hosting a press conference for DAZN next week.
Okay.
The Lamont Roach Williams Sabella fight. I'm co-hosting that one on DAZN next Thursday. So I will miss that practice in the morning.
Fine.
However,
but you can find all the Brandy stuff at Raider Nation Radio 920, all on socials, LV Sports Network as well. On the way back, there's a little kerfuffle around the WNBA with the All-Star Weekend, so I want to pit Brandy and Willie head-to-head. Maybe they'll agree on this one, but what the heck is going on with another one of these weird social media controversies?
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, Brandy Flores in on Thursdays from LV Sports Network and Raider Nation Radio 920, ESPN Las Vegas, our roving reporter.
You know what I just realized, Steve? I'm not going to be here next Thursday on your show because I can't go to the camp because I'll be doing something else.
Damn.
Sorry.
We'll figure something out.
We'll
figure something out.
Something.
So, Willie, tell people what's going on with Sabrina Ionescu and why she turned down the three-point contest in the All-Star Weekend. Does she not care about the fans?
Yeah, of course, because she's one of the worst. I mean, Kelsey Plum, she gets off a bus and berates some guy. Of course, she's nasty. Now Sabrina Ionescu doesn't want to get in it because she doesn't. Come on, people. Sabrina Ionescu and Kayla McBride are being berated for supposedly turning down or refusing to get in three-point contest. They were never invited to the WNBA three-point contest. Now, if the league wants to put it off in some way or shape or form that it's assumed that they're going to be, that's not the case. I did, before the show, because Brandy and I were talking about it, get a confirmation for a friend of the show, Doug Feinberg, from the Associated Press. I wanted to know factual. He said, yes, there's a protocol. The invite comes through the agent. There is an official request or invite that goes through the agent. They let you know, hey, Sabrina, league's has reached out, blah, 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 blah. They never received an invite. So the rage baiters that are putting out there that Ionescu turned it down, Kayla McBride turned it down, they were never invited in the first place.
So this is where I get confused because Ionescu straight up said, I was not invited.
Right.
She said, quote, I can't decline an offer I was never officially invited to. Never got invited. But
okay.
She did, but then again, it's just like, she says, I didn't get it, until I get a really nice official invite. Which, what does that mean if it's only going through the agent? How nice could it be? Point two.
Well, but hold on a second. Is she saying the agent never gave it to her?
She's not.
Or it wasn't good enough? I mean, I
don't know. It's unspecified. And
before number two, I have to mention, we are constantly hearing about miscommunication around the WNBA.
Yes.
I don't get what happens from the league to the players to the PR people with organizations to the agents. I'm totally confused. Number two?
Kayla McBride said that she received like a half invite. So I'm confused.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm confused. So Ionescu started off by saying, yeah, I was never invited. I was never invited. And she said that multiple times. And then she said, until I get a really nice official invite. Maybe she was being sarcastic because she really, truly didn't get one. But then McBride is saying that she didn't get a true invite, or she got a half invite, which was, I don't know what that means. And I think it's unfortunate that we were all sitting here confused because I don't know who to believe. Because let's just say they got an invite through their agent, as Willie said. That is the official way. How much nicer does it need to be if that is what happened?
Okay, let me read this paragraph to you. And this is the problem with aggregated websites and sites that like to write things in a certain manner with a certain theme to get clicks because that's how they get their revenue from Google, okay? Earlier this week, UNESCO refuted a report that she had opted out of this year's festivities, commenting, quote-unquote, lies under a since-deleted Bleacher Report Instagram post. McBride also weighed in via social media, saying her agent had texted her about the event in the 48 hours before her Instagram story post, but no formal invitation ever came. My question is...
So was that not the formal invite to McBride?
No. My question is, what did her agent text her about the event in the 48 hours? Whoever reported that, whatever the case may be in terms of what the agent reported, is it on? Ask her. Instead of just taking what she put, go find out. Go ask. Or put a request in with the Minnesota Lynx PR. Find out instead of just going off and report it.
But why?
Then don't report it at all.
Exactly. But you mentioned their goal. What is their goal?
Right. So
they don't want the right information. If it is going to be,
they want their own narrative.
Exactly.
Right.
That works, and that's part of the spread of misinformation. And I think it happens with the WNBA as much or more than any other league.
It's just the whole situation is confusing to me because if the agent texted, and I'm speaking about McBride in particular, if her agent texted her. About it.
No, but that's just it. What about it? How do we know that what he texted her or she texted or whoever the agent is, how do we know that the text was, hey, did you get an invite? Because I didn't see one. Maybe that's what she meant.
Maybe, but to your point, they should ask. UNESCO was asked. She kind of gave a very vague response. So I think that as players, if you want to make a bigger deal about it and put out a note, like Ineski said, that's lies, and you have an opportunity to clarify it, that is where you need to clarify it because we're all sitting here scratching our heads because we don't really know what happened, and this has become a bigger deal than it is, which stories like this happen all the time across different leagues, but more often than not, it's up to the players to either not say anything, and so it's not that big of a deal, or you say something and clarify what happened. UNESCO really didn't. She probably thought it's not a big deal. I think she was being a little bit sarcastic, like, oh, once I get a nice official invite. I believe she probably wasn't invited. But McBride, I feel like if you are going to take a public stance on how negatively you felt about your invitation or whatever the case was, that's fine. She could feel that. But then say what happened. You can't have this vague response because then that kind of makes everything a bigger deal because everybody's wildly speculating what happened. And then it can, to Willie's point, people can take things that are negative and spin it into a different way because why? We don't know what happened, but this whole thing is kind of ridiculous.
Brandy, we got to run because we got Exavier Pope coming up. On socials, I know you're going to be covering the Raiders a bunch coming up. What are we looking for in socials, and where can people go for all the Raider-related content?
Raider Nation Radio 920 across every social media platform. Be sure and check on YouTube. I'm going to make Q and Vinny Bonsignor go head-to-head every day after practice and argue about the Raiders. Don't
like
listen.
that. Well, thank you for sitting in. We appreciate it.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Right, every week on Thursdays, we get a chance to talk to our buddy Exavier Pope, cultural contributor to the show, voice of reason, attorney. EP is up with Willie and Cofield. Exavier, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Pretty good. I know Willie's fired up to talk to you today because you are around All-Star Weekend for the WNBA. So tell me about your plans and what you're going to hit.
Well, I just came back from it was basically a lot of queer women-owned cannabis brands setting up in a panel here. It was pretty cool. Had a chance to get a lot of really cool, unique items. So that was really cool. I seem like Level Sporting Club right in Wrigleyville by Wrigley. Where the Cubs play Wrigley Field is like that, like the center place of a lot of things that are happening because I'm going to 3 events there in the next 2 days. So that's what's been going on so far. About to head to a NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists, Chicago. Welcome for the WNBA events in the next hour. or so, or shorter than that. And then I'm going to be, Complex has a piece coming, Complex Sports. I'll be going out there, and then Jamel Hill and just hosting a podcast on her show, other women in the sports, other panels happening in addition to All-Star Weekend for all type of festivities. So I'm busy, man. I'm running around all over the city.
So this sounds very much like it is a women's meetup. I don't know, and Willie can remind us of what the game was like here in Las Vegas. Is there a different theme? Is it more amped up in Chicago than maybe in previous years in terms of the female presence overall?
Absolutely. I think that I feel like Chicago has just become like this mecca of summertime shy. Like all these different things are coming in Chicago in summertime, and WNBA All-Star being one of those things. And so many people are here. The NAACP convention is here at the same time this week. And so it's just so much to do here in the summertime. The weather is amazing. But a lot of the events are definitely women-driven, women-owned, a lot of women journalists here, a lot of women-centered, women business-centered. And it's also queer women-centered as well. So it's really been cool to see that and that how the sport is reaching into culture and community, and that's been kind of cool to see so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't speak for Chicago, but what I can tell you is that what I always enjoy about seeing the WNBA season get started, but when it's All-Star Weekend, is a lot of my friends in the industry get hired or retained to do certain things. You mentioned Jamel Hill. I know Jamel Hill really well. Ari Chambers, I'm always excited when she's invited to do forums, or like tonight she's hosting the stream for the orange carpet. And more so than anything, and I'll be real honest and upfront about this, the one thing that I was told this years ago, Xavier, and it's something that I appreciated and accepted, but at the same token, I kind of was like, man, that sucks. But I was like, I've been told many times, Willie, you're fantastic at what you do. We know your passion for the WNBA. It's just that you're in a day and age where you're sort of outdated. You would have a job 100% if you were a young black female. And I get it. I understand it. I love seeing the collection of not just women, but black women being able to be brought in for the WNBA because they've been very outspoken. I've had several WNBA players tell me straightforward, we're tired of talking to old white men. And there's no offense to you, Willie. We love you, but this is the fact. They want to speak to and open up to and have fun with people that they look like. We've been told that. We see it, and this is why this weekend is a special weekend.
And that's okay. I mean, and I am the head of business development and teach hot yoga at a place called Ritual Hot Yoga. I put a post out telling people to come take the black women that teach at the studio and let them know the representation is there, so that those women who are in town for WNBA All-Star, they want to see the representation. They want to be able to sweat and work out. They go to a place that looks like them and represents them as well. And so I think that's one of the most amazing things you can do as a man is to be able to step back and you can point and look and say, hey, look at this talented woman here. I feel it's a graceful thing to do, Willie. Yeah. I mean, you do have a place, and your place is ushering in and being mentored or sharing your knowledge and shining a spotlight on talented women. I mean, that doesn't take anything away from you. As a matter of fact, that adds to you and the richness of to be able to spotlight people who are talented in those different spaces.
Exavier Pope's up on ESPN Las Vegas with Willie Ramirez and Cofield. Well, let's talk about what's going down this week at ESPN. You know, they had the merger with NFL media, so a lot of duplication, so some NFL voices went bye-bye. And I think the grossest thing is the celebration. Like, ESPN has just been turned into this vilified entity, and everyone is the same, and we know that's not the case. But I hated that people were celebrating firings. And also, it seemed like someone at the worldwide leader did Ryan Clark dirty because apparently he was working on air when he was jettisoned off and told that he was being fired. Mm-hmm. But there was also a weird leak from someone to report the news.
And to the leak, it's an outkick, though, Steve. So Clay Travis's right-wing trash bag of a media outlet that they live off racist, bigoted clicks. making up stories and outrage of aggrieved white men. That's their shtick. And so it's for someone at ESPN to leak it to them and then having to get some kind of confirmation, it gets out of control, and then they have to work and say, hey, you're not going to be on air anymore during a commercial break. I think that Ryan Clark deserves better than that. The type of professional he's been, how he's shown up, and how the class act that he is, instead of expressing to himself, expressing to the world like how frustrated or upset he was about it, he sent his heart out to those who had lost their positions and had been laid off at ESPN instead. He decided to take the higher ground, and that just shows the type of guy, type of character he has, and he's shown himself to be on network and also in life.
We had a couple of weird stories, and they're not really weird when you think about it, go down the last couple of weeks from the Stick to Sports crowd. They completely support this, but I thought we were supposed to stick to sports. One is we keep getting more and more proposals about cleaning up, protect college sports from the government. I don't want government intrusion in my college sports. And the thing I hate the most, and I saw a lot of media people, which I think they're way off on this, a lot of media people supporting this Tommy Tuberville one-time transfer thing, which I think is completely outrageous. If I, Steve Cofield, can jump to 4 different radio jobs in the next 4 years, but college students can't leave somewhere they're unhappy or leave somewhere for a better opportunity or leave to go somewhere to make more money, that's un-American.
It is un-American, Steve. And I think that the people who claim the biggest patriotism, the biggest capitalism are anti-American, anti-capitalist. They show this time and time again. And if it doesn't line up with their political worldview, then they want it to be shut down, to be legislated against, tamped down, shut down. And I think that's such a hypocritical. And Tommy Tuberville, one of the biggest idiots in Congress, and we shouldn't be listening to him at all.
Well, I mean, he's a complete hypocrite because he benefited as much as anyone from the corrupt college coaching system where they leave whenever they want. They get these massive buyouts. He's a multimillionaire. I mean, certainly for the grift of being a politician, but before that he was because he kept changing jobs and or getting relieved of duties and making millions that way. The other one that I find completely fascinating, and I got to tell you, if someone lays their hands on me, there's going to be a problem on this one. This happened in your town in Wrigley. And we see some old guy barking at a kid who's sitting during the national anthem, and he slaps him in the head. There's a lot of layers to this conversation, and it's turned into quite the debate. Again, we go back to 2017-18 with Colin Kaepernick. People have real strong feelings about the national anthem, but it's not only a one-sided thing.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about being American is to be able to protest against the country that you live in. That's how the country was created in the first place. And that's something that is part of, that's why the First Amendment, the first thing that they said, hey, First Amendment, we should probably give people the opportunity to speak out against their own government. And so being able to, and it's constitutionally protected, the Supreme Court has ruled against, you don't have to stand for the national anthem. For someone to smack someone on top of the head, to resort to violence to enforce their political worldview is frankly disgusting. It is assault. The guy should have been arrested, should have been kicked out of the stadium, should not have been allowed in the stadium ever again. And I'm surprised we still don't know who this person is that's done it since it's got so much attention, Steve.
We know that the internet will probably find who it is and at least get a name. Mm-hmm. Should local authorities pursue charges for battery? Should someone higher up, the governor, step in and go, hey, you know what? This person needs to be penalized. And using the word vigilante is kind of ridiculous, but you can't just go around based on your standards smacking people in the head.
You flat out can't do that. I mean, hey, I feel this way, you don't. Let me hit you. After J6 and some of the other political violence we've seen, people are now resorting to violence to enforce their politics. That's not the type of world we should be living in. We should, and that's something that Martin Luther King preached against. That people who claim to use him to all the different types of tactics. But I think that if that person decides to press charges against this individual, they have the right to do that. Would they do that, giving them more additional attention that they might receive? They just want to kind of go on with their life. That remains to be seen, Steve. But I think if that person says, hey, this person hit me in the head, and I want to press charges against this person, they should. If they want to sue this person also in a civil capacity, they can do that too.
I don't know if you covered this. I had to step out of the studio. But the other thing is, look, I watched this video. This guy claims that the kid in front of him sitting down is disrespectful. The tirade and speaking during the national anthem and the disruption is just as bad. It's just like somebody being on their phone. I mean, for that person, like, would he do the same thing that if say you're disrupting because you're on your phone? Well, you're distracting other people that are standing that believe that you need to stand in. So now you are making a ruckus during the national anthem. So you're probably worse.
That's actually a great point, Willie. And then think about it. Say someone's across the stadium or in a different part of the stadium. They don't know why you're doing that to this person. They don't hear what you're saying. They're seeing you hit up another person. And so I think that's what it comes down to. That's basically you can't batter someone in a public space like that, and especially can't do it because of the politics.
It's pretty outrageous stuff. One more time, you had a laundry list of things you were going to around WNBA All-Star Weekend. What's the thing you're most excited about coming up either today or tomorrow?
I think I'm just excited to just see more different things that are happening in the city, and I'm just excited. Summertime Chicago, summertime Chi, the hype is real. It's a really fun city to be in, and I'm just happy to see people celebrating the WNBA in Chicago and really celebrating how great Chicago is and how well we can be a host city for a variety of different conferences, a variety of different events. And so maybe the Bears won't leave. It's a great city to be inside of the city because all the different events that are happening are inside of the city. Yeah, that's it.
EP, love you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Love you guys.
There he is, Exavier Pope, right here on Cofield and Company. I don't know that I've been around anyone, Willie, to speaking about the national anthem, and we went through this, whatever it was, 8 years ago, and it got really stupid and annoying. And as I pointed out many times, there are a lot of times I will do whatever everyone else is not doing. So I will leave the arena a lot of times and stand in the back if I want to for my own moment. Sometimes I will stand. I'll tell you where I always stand. Restaurants when I'm watching the national anthem on TV and I look around and like less than 2% of the crowd is standing up. Like, well, these are my rules. So can I walk up at a restaurant, smack your hat off when you're sitting down?
I will tell you this. If like sometimes AP will say, let's just say a Golden Knights game. I'm just going to give you this is a hypothetical. Jack Eichel's about to skate in his 1,000th game. And they'll say, hey, we want it right at puck drop because he's likely going to start. And so you get the story together, you get it ready, you have it ready to release right when puck drops, or then you hit publish. Yeah. Well, guess what? If I'm putting it together and it just happens to be, I may be sitting down or leaning over or not standing erect, and I may be sitting there typing it during the national anthem. There may be times where I'm walking through the back hallway or I'm in the Allegiant and the national anthem is being played, but I'm not facing the playing surface. I'm doing something. Right. I'm not stopping what I'm doing. Sorry. I mean, I've been to hundreds of games in my career where I stand at attention. When I'm at my seat and it's being played and the flag is there, I stand and I put my hand over my heart. But guess what? There may be times where I can't, and I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. It's not disrespectful. Get over yourself.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
At 4 o'clock hours here, it's Cofield. Willie's here as well. We got a load of summer fun continuing, presented by Terribles and ESPN Las Vegas. Our keyword of the day is freedom, freedom, freedom. You send that in 702-364-1100 on the text line. And this week's America 250 trip is a Southern California theme park trip. And all you got to do to qualify and be involved is text in freedom, 702-364-1100. And if you don't want the trip, you can take the cash. So there is a cash option. It's the Lotus Summer of fun. Willie's here. It's Cofield. This hour is brought to you by Battleborn Injury Lawyers. In a little bit, we're going to check in with a lot of local sports, and UNLV camp is opening up next week for football. So Ray Brewer is going to join us from the Las Vegas Sun. Let's do it. Big Four time.
Battleborn Injury Lawyers presents the Big Four at 4. Number 4.
So, Willie, I have to give it like 2 more minutes. I want to make sure we introed the story, and the Reno audience didn't hear it. We were talking about a video that came out a couple days ago of a guy at Wrigley Field. He's in a row behind a younger kid. I guess he's barking at the kid to stand up during the national anthem. The kid's just sitting there, and then he smacks him in the head. The kid turns around, kind of sizes him up, and decides to stand up. And you and I were just railing on the fact that there are no rules, and there is certainly a rule against putting your hands on me because I'm not living up to your standards. I'm going to give you a story that I relayed on the internets, and I'm going to show the hypocrisy of, hey, my rules are the only rules when it comes to the national anthem, because that's not the case, right? So this guy who thinks that someone has to stand up and then that he can resort to physical violence, you're outrageous, you're a moron. That's not right. At Aviators games, there are instructions. Because you brought up the fact, Willie, that during the national anthem, he wants someone to stand up, but he's barking at them and disturbing everyone else's moment of peace.
Right.
And they're silent. So, hey, those are my rules. Shut the F up. At the AAA games here in town, they will make any announcement that, hey, please don't yell. I don't know if they specifically say don't yell Knights, because that is one of the things that happens in this town at every venue with the national anthem is that people will yell Knights.
Right.
They make an announcement. Well, that pissed off a bunch of people, and now they're mad that you can't yell Knights. So I responded to one Yahoo who was complaining about it, and I was like, do you think there might be more to the story of why they're making the announcement? Because I was told by sources that someone in the crowd, regular season ticket holders, talked to the Aviators management and said, hey, that Knights thing disturbs us. We're going to cancel our season tickets. We don't like that. So what are we supposed to do? Whose rules are we supposed to follow? And then the response when I wrote someone, and it was a real person, it wasn't a bot in this case, they were like, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, all right, well, you believe what you want.
Well, kudos to the season ticket holder. I've always said, I think maybe I've said it to you or not, but I've always said, stop yelling Knights during the national anthem at other games. Save it for do it at the hockey arena. That's where it fits, but you want to do it around town. And I've had friends of friends of my mom even comment on social media, say, oh no, Willie, that's showing our pride. We can say that, da da da. Okay. For those and by the way, the one who had the long paragraph and comment on social media is a right-wing person. Well, then, if you have the right to do what you want during the national anthem, then everybody else has the right to do what they want. And that means sit down. That means go to the bathroom. That means stay on their phone. You people that think that there are rules because the national anthem and for those that say, there were people, you don't understand the meaning behind that. It's the respect toward America. People fight for the freedom for you. Well, then if they fought for the freedom for you to make the choice, then that means that they fought for the freedom from that person to do whatever they want, other than disrupting the peace of that 2-minute rendition.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Oh, boy, Willie, on the road. I got me some ice cream last night. I don't eat a lot of ice cream anymore because I don't want to be a fat load, but today is, I think it's a day I want to celebrate. I didn't realize. National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. Hello.
Well, you are very vanilla.
Hello. So what's your question for people on the vanilla? Do we need a vanilla ice cream day?
Does anyone eat just vanilla ice cream? Maybe, I know French vanilla is different, but does anyone just eat vanilla ice cream? Isn't that something where, okay, if I'm going to have vanilla ice cream, I'm probably getting it on top of what? Warm apple pie, maybe a Pizookie at certain places. But I can't ever remember somebody just ordering vanilla ice cream at a place. I could be wrong.
Last night at I am on the East Coast. I went to a legendary place called Jersey Freeze, and I got a cup of vanilla. Now, I did get some stuff on it. I got some peanut butter pieces on there. I got some Reese's Pieces on there, but I got the soft serve vanilla, and I would very much do a soft serve vanilla cone. It's one of my favorites, man.
Okay.
Well, I'm all about vanilla. You're right, I am vanilla. I'm all about vanilla ice cream. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I think it was perfect timing for you to do the Reese's Pieces on top of that because you somewhat celebrated in advance a big day today.
I didn't even know this existed. Another national day.
I didn't know this existed either until I saw it today. I actually never heard of this. It's peanut butter and chocolate day. So now, are there other things we try besides Reese's peanut butter cups? First thing I thought of was not Reese's peanut butter cups.
What was it?
My homemade peanut butter protein balls that I make. Now, I haven't made them for quite some time, but I make peanut butter protein balls. I was making them a long time ago when my son was competing because he would ask me to make them during prep time because it was it was high calorie, but it was healthy because with the peanut butter and protein powder, and I'd add flaxseed meal and chia seeds and I actually came up with just my own, and they're very now you go everywhere and there's protein. Yeah. We were doing this, 10 years ago.
I forgot about the peanut butter balls. I got some at the Final Four. Believe it or not, the media food area had snacks and the dessert. That was the most popular dessert, some peanut butter balls.
Yeah.
By the way, yesterday, because I am in the Garden State, I was at an Italian deli where they actually had their own peanut butter cups that they make. But clearly peanut butter cups have become the most popular combo of peanut butter and chocolate.
No, 100%, 100%. But
Reese's Pieces is something different technically, right?
I think so.
I favor the pieces over the cups.
Now let me give you something that people wouldn't think of, but I think that these are very popular. What about peanut butter blossoms at Christmas? The peanut butter cookies with the Hershey's Kiss pressed into the middle of it.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah,
I didn't even know the name of them. They're peanut butter blossoms. Huh?
I believe that's what they're called. Yes.
Oh, those are good.
Those are fantastic.
Lordy.
How about this?
So
How
we're
about
both
this?
all
Wait.
in, we're both all in on peanut butter and chocolate day.
Yeah.
But we're only half in.
No, you're all in on vanilla.
Well,
but
I'm
how
all
about
in.
this? How about
But you're
this?
not in.
Have
You're
the
not in.
SO make this
Yeah,
holiday
okay.
time.
Okay.
You get
SO.
a skillet that's like the size of like a small saucer size skillet, and you press a peanut butter cookie dough instead of chocolate chip cookie dough to make the pizookie. You put it in the oven. When it comes out made, you get one of those giant Hershey's Kisses that they make, right? To give like they give those on Valentine's Day. You get the giant. You press that in the middle, and on the hot peanut butter blossom, you put vanilla ice cream. Come on!
I implore everyone, and I mention this about every 3 months on this show, when you listen to us, follow it up by watching the movie Fatso with Dom DeLuise and watch the kitchen scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but cabinets get ripped apart, and watch them just talk food and the noises they make, and that is Cofield and Company. And we just do it organically because we're animals.
Fat animals.
Tomorrow will be a very strong food show. I've taken a lot of pictures of food. My Lord, it's been quite a little trip.
Would that make us fanimals? The mixture of the word fanimals.
We got to come up with something. Let's skip ahead to number 1 and combo the rest of the big 4 at 4.
Number 1.
There you go. All right, baseball trade deadline's coming up on August 3rd. I can keep track of my days. It's coming up in just a little bit. And the hottest name out there is Tarek Skubal with the Tigers. Now, the Tigers are playing good baseball.
Yeah.
So, just like we had a few weeks ago where we were thinking, hey, A's are 3 games below 500. Maybe they're going to be buyers. Well, now they're sellers because they went in this swoon. The Tigers, if they keep this up for another week, may keep Skubal. But, Willie, I think the attention on Skubal, the thirst for Skubal is going to be so intense. There's so many teams that could use him, and it completely changes the picture in the AL. It somewhat changes the picture in the NL. Like, as an example, the Braves and the Phillies, if the Braves get Tarek Skubal, that certainly changes that division.
Right.
I don't know if the Phillies would want to spend that much because they have an outstanding pitching staff, but maybe they'd want to do it as a preventative move. But in the American League, whoever gets Tarek Skubal may jump right to the top of the American League as the favorite.
And the thing is, with Detroit, I don't want to make it. I don't want to downgrade in any shape or form Skubal. But listen, if they trade him, and as long as part of the return package is someone who fits in the rotation, you still have a rotation that has Casey Mize and Troy Melton, who are both pitching very well. So one of them could step up to be your ace, and then you bring in somebody who fits in the 3 or the 4 spot for the rotation and whatever else you get for him. The thing is, and Jeff Pauls and I talked about this, they might be the most dangerous team in the American League Central right now. Forget the White Sox, forget the Guardians. If the Tigers continue on the trajectory they're on, and they put a package together for Scooball and can just keep going, there's really they really are very dangerous. And then with whatever they get to grow for the future.
I always, when I'm talking about stuff like this, the trade deadline, I always like to mix in the fact that we've got some owners and Bobby Manfred trying to say how unhealthy baseball is and the system is broken and the sport sucks. This year it's been as healthy as ever, and I'll give you another piece of evidence. Two of the teams rumored to be the most in for Scooball who want to pay the price are the Astros, not a small market club at all, but the Astros and the Rays. How awesome would it be if the Rays, who always have this great system and have unbelievable depth, what if the Rays were buyers to try to win the American League pennant? I think that would be great. And by the way, Manfred would roll over in his grave. He'd be like, well, this doesn't help my case.
Yeah,
but who cares? Rays have been consistently a top 10 organization in baseball. And when they've made the playoffs, they haven't broken through. Go do it. Go do it.
Well, and the Rays are clinging right now. They're clinging because forget about the Yankees, but the Red Sox have come on strong. I mean, they were just in last place. They put together this extended win streak. They finally lost, but they're not going anywhere. And, so they're going to have to do something because what's been taking place is not necessarily – I mean, some of their pitchers have – they're not falling off, but – you get to this point in the year and you're going to start seeing the same opponents in the American League and especially AL East foes. They're going to have to strengthen things up if you're starting to see. And that's a division where you'd never – I kind of compare the Red Sox and the Cardinals. I don't care where they're at. You're never going – you can't ever count them out.
Giveaway time. Guns N' Roses in town in the third week of August. Allegiant Stadium, Guns N' Roses. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. If you don't win these, Ticketmaster.com. But right now, a pair of tickets to see Guns N' Roses at Allegiant on August 22nd. 364-1100, 364-1100, caller number 7. Ray Brewer, Las Vegas Sun, is on the way as we'll get into some of the great stories coming up in high school sports.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, time to talk some UNLV and Mountain West Conference and some high school sports around Vegas, some other stuff as well. As Ray Brewer, Las Vegas Sun, is in studio. It's Cofield on the road. What's up, Ray?
Hi, Steve. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm going to tell you about my road exploits in about 25 minutes because I got to get your travel deets on your most recent vacation, which I'm fascinated to hear about. But I know last week I saw you briefly. You were over at – can you hear me okay? You were over at the Mountain West Conference Media Days at the Palms. Give me your impressions. First of all, the setup. It felt different. It looked different.
So I, as you know, enjoy to eat, and I'm a fat man, and I get in there right away, and I'm like looking for coffee, Steve. Like, where's the coffee? I got to get caffeinated to be able to ask the right questions for what could be a memorable UNLV season. But just it's
Wait, did
really
you get the coffee?
Cool to say, okay, it's 110 in Vegas, and football's almost here, and eventually it's going to get cooler, and this is kind of like the debut. And I also thought it was cool to see some of the new teams in the league. Was I the only one that thought the UTEP orange uniforms were like super sexy and they've got the best uniforms in the league?
So this is something we talked about with the representation of the uniforms there. One, New Mexico had on uniforms that looked like the Miami Dolphins, which I thought was a little weird. UTEP. So Ray is not hearing me right now, so can we just turn up his headphone volume, please? UTEP, I thought the uniforms were pretty good. Frankly, the uniforms that UNLV brought out were amongst the kind of the most boring combo they have. Dare I say that Nevada's uniforms I thought looked pretty slick. I like North Dakota State as well. So I didn't like the New Mexico uniforms though. They look like the Dolphins. So I didn't love those.
Everybody that I talked to was just so enamored with having North Dakota State there, and I get their history and their multiple national championships on the subdivision, and the fact that they produced Carson Wentz and some other NFLers, but it's North Dakota State. Are we making too big of a deal out of North Dakota State?
Ray, they're right now at William Hill. They're the third choice, and they're like 10 cents behind UNLV. They're a top 3 choice to win the conference. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. Now, I'm not saying they're going to freaking win 2 games in the Mountain West. They're going to win some games, but I don't know that they walk in and dominate right away. But here's the thing that we talked about a lot on the show when we were out there for the 2 days. Boise's not there, so there's no one in the room like walking around with their chest puffed out. I don't think UNLV's there yet, even though the last 3 years have been really good. Frankly, I thought North Dakota State kind of carried itself like they were because they have an attitude already because they were so good at FCS. If you doubt them, what do you think is going to be their problem?
Well, I just think week in and week out, having to play a higher level of team, right? So maybe not in terms of navigating your schedule to get to the end of the season where you could be this great team. You might not have as many. Okay, we don't have to be our best Saturdays. I think the Saturdays are going to be tough for them. I do think the travel to go play North Dakota State is going to wear on the Mountain West. That's not an easy trip,
yeah.
And they're going to pack that place. We know that for sure. It's going to get loud, and you're 100% right. They've got a winning tradition. They know what it takes to navigate a schedule, to win games, and they're obviously a great addition to the Mountain West.
I'm looking at their home schedule now. Are they going to go unbeaten at home? Because I tell you what, they should have easier assignments because their road schedule includes at Hawaii, at New Mexico, and at UNLV. So the big boys in the conference, for the most part, avoid going to Fargo. Yeah, I've heard the Fargo Dome is ridiculous. It only holds 19,000. The decibels it's loud. By the way, North Dakota State also has to go to Air Force. Man, they really dealt them one. The home games are against Wyoming, against Nevada, against UTEP, against Northern Illinois. Well, I mean that does give them a shot at being way up there in the standings if they can sweep at home in conference.
I'm more of a Kibbe Dome guy.
Okay.
At Idaho, UNLV hosting North Dakota State, probably going to be the best attended game of the year at Allegiant Stadium. Correct?
Probably.
Do you think that North Dakota State, there's more green than red in the stadium that day?
Oh, no, there'll be more red. Now, it depends on if UNLV gets off to a lousy start, which it could. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there, we've talked about this a bunch, that think UNLV is going to go unbeaten or have one loss. I think you better look at the schedule again. The way it lays out is not easy. If UNLV loses some fan momentum, then there'll still be more UNLV fans for the North Dakota State game. But North Dakota State, at a minimum, I heard they're going to travel 4,000 or 5,000. I thought it might be even more. So the atmosphere is going to be incredible. What was the vibe you got from the UNLV players? Because like I said, they have mostly humble guys. There was always an air with the Boise player. I even think there's an air with the Air Force guys, and obviously there's something different there too because they're eventually going to serve their country. But what do you think of the players that were there in terms of the way they carried themselves? Like, did they carry themselves like they're favorites now? Like Austin Boyd's been here, when he first got here. Those were tougher times when he first got here. How do you think the UNLV players carried themselves?
I thought they were very humble, and not one. I wanted them to say, "Hey, this is our league to win."
Right.
We'll see you at Georgia for the playoff game. We love that CBS ranking.
Yeah.
But they were very. I don't want to say they were very respectful of the other teams in the room. I don't think that equals a lack of confidence. The one thing that I was impressed, I've looked at the schedule. I see the 8.5 win total Vegas has up. I don't know the games they're going to lose, but you're right. The schedule isn't too forgiving. And then I hear them, and I worry about the defense. And then I hear them talk about the defense and what went wrong last year in terms of communication, right? They weren't identifying audibles. They weren't getting the plays in quick enough, right? An injury happens, maybe not great on the back end. And then Mike Shearer comes back. He's going to signal in the plays. And all of a sudden they had more confidence in the defense being capable because Mike Shearer's there than they had in being the best team in the Mountain West. And that gives me confidence that they may, in fact, be the best team in the Mountain West.
Well, there's no doubt they got to be much better on defense. I mean, they can't give up the chunk plays they gave up a year ago. And you know, the crazy part was a lot of the chunk plays happened because when you think chunk plays, you think over the top. You know, you think missed tackles in the secondary. A lot of them happened because of miscommunication up front, where there were gaps weren't covered. I mean, really basic stuff. And I remember sitting on the sidelines more than a few times, and I don't know how much you get a chance to talk to Ricky Logo, the defensive line coach, who's mostly like a mild-mannered guy. But let me tell you, when you make a mistake, and the alignment stuff last year, when they made mistakes, boy, oh boy, I was scared. And I wasn't playing. I wasn't in uniform. So they got to clean that up. I think it is going to help. But here's the challenges, Ray. Because what I wanted to ask you is, you know, if you have a player or two who has to step up, and we don't have to go with the obvious in Jackson Arnold, they lost their leaders at linebacker the last 2 years. So Jackson Woodard 2 years ago and McDuffie last year. Now Blessing Alu Tuialamotu is back, but I don't know if he's going to be the green dot. That's the guy who's, you know, he's got the helmet, who's getting the signals. I don't know if it's going to be one of the newcomers. I think they have outstanding newcomers. And then the other thing is the leader at the back end is Jake Pope, but he's one of those guys who's got the challenges of identifying what's happening. So they need new linebackers to step up, and then they need veteran defensive backs to improve a lot for the defense to be a lot better.
So Pope being picked to the all preseason Mountain West team was a minor surprise to me. He looked really bad at times last year, and I don't know if it was part of the we don't know where to stand confusion or if he just was over his skis a little bit. But the guy's got the pedigree. He was in the SEC. He checks all the star boxes. And if there's a jump from year 1 to year 2 with him, that could be really impactful to help the defense.
Of course. And by the way, it truly is for him year 1 to year 2 because while he had the pedigree, he didn't play at Alabama and Georgia. So he even said that. We talked to him after the spring game, and Jake Pope was like, hey, those first couple of games, man, I'm out there and my head is spinning because things were going so fast. But, yeah, he's got to be good. Trey Fulton, the other safety, he's got to be really good. They also have to find, 1, competence at the corners, and 2, they have to stay healthy because Denver Harris is back. They have high hopes for him. Mumu, I don't know if you got to talk to Mumu bin Wahad.
What a well-spoken guy that he is. Unbelievable.
He's incredibly mature, and he's a fun guy. And I haven't talked to – I'll tell you with Mumu, my biggest thing with him is I think he's got to be more focused during games and focused on the sidelines because he's one of those guys, he'll stray away from the defensive group and go down and ride the bike. He also said, hey, I like to go down and cheer up my offensive guys. But I think their defense was so loose at times last year. Like, Mumu, you got to – down here, okay? Down here. You got to be – because there were a lot of times where like, hey, Mumu! Like, where are you? So he's got to get better. And then there's another linchpin in this whole thing because to your point about – and Ray Brewer's with us here, and we're going to take a break, and we got a lot more UNLV to get into as the Rebels are going to be in camp starting next week. First media access is on the 28th. The other linchpin on the defense is, and you mentioned the all-conference teams, Avery Helm, according to Phil Steele, preseason All-Mountain West Conference team, Avery Helm was put on the first team. And Avery Helm didn't play in the spring. So you have to realize a lot of those recommendations are reputation from where they came from and also who Mullen was highest on when he told Phil Steele. So we'll continue to break it down. Race in studio. Check out the Las Vegas Sun when you can, please.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, we're getting hyped up for UNLV football camp starting up middle of next week. Dan Mullen's squad is back with over-unders in that 7.5 to 8.5 win range. They are one of the top 3 teams in the preseason to win the Mountain West Conference, but not going to be easy. Hawaii is much improved. New Mexico returns many of their key players, including their quarterback, Jack Lane, and their star linebacker, Jackson Eck. Ray, did you get to talk to any other coaches, any other players aside from UNLV? And I'm curious if how many of the Vegas natives you spoke to, like, did you get a chance to talk to Micah Alejado?
So I did talk to Jackson Eck, very, very smart person. You could see why he is such a great linebacker, son of a coach. Does a good job. I was impressed. And I did briefly run into the Gorman Quartet representing Hawaii, and I'm happy for those guys. Cam Barfield, Boston College, transferred to Hawaii. I see that McKay Eugenio left the Hawaii program today. He was competing to be the backup, recent Gorman graduate, and so it's that game against Hawaii. UNLV's favored by 1.5. It's always tough to travel to the islands. UNLV Hawaii's always close when it's in the islands. Alejado coming off a 9-win season. He was banged up with an ankle most of the season. Now he's healthy. And it's, that home field they have is so intimate. That's the big landmine for me in that early 3 games on the road to start the season.
I spoke to Jemai Otis. Really nice kid and, undersized guy, but he's another one. If he stays healthy, he's going to have a monster season. I asked him a weird question because if you've been down there, they're playing at the track facility, and they've beefed it up, the track facility. They've beefed it up over the years with more seats. But their concessions, basically, they just bring in food trucks or set up, food stands. And every time I go down there, I'm like, God dang it, I'm hungry right now. Like, it smells so good with Hawaiian food. Otis said, yeah, it's really distracting in the pregame, the smell. Cam Barfield's like, hey, I've never smelled it. I was like, wow, you are focused, dude.
Yeah, we got to get your taste buds rolling. It's like seriously going to a Liberty High football game.
What are they? Same thing?
Oh, my God.
Same
Sometimes
smells?
they got the pig going, and you're walking by. And there's nothing better than a stadium hot dog, a high school football stadium hot dog. Sense of nostalgia on the side. It's very good.
One more thing on Jackson Eck. If people didn't hear the live interview, and we're still putting out some clips and shorts from Mountain West Conference Media Days, I asked Eck, Dad, Jason Eck, what would have happened if his son had been offered, say, $500,000, $750,000 to go to a Group of 4 school, and the answer he gave me was pretty intriguing. He said that, obviously they share an agent, he and his son, and that his son was offered pretty big money to go elsewhere, but I guess the deciding factor was Mom would not have been happy had he done that. That's a tough call. If you're the parents, and obviously it would hurt his dad's case at New Mexico, and he's not going to get fired because his son leaves, but I don't know. That's a tough one. You tell your kid, like, hey, sorry, you can't get $500,000, a leg up moving into your career.
But he's not playing for free at New Mexico.
I'm sure he's getting something, and obviously his schooling is free. He's not getting $500,000, right?
He's not?
I don't think so.
I mean,
for a linebacker, you think they got that kind of? You think they have that kind of budget?
Well,
I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they've got an excess of $2 million with NIL. I don't know if I would spend $500 on my star linebacker, even if he was my son.
So I've always been intrigued by NIL, and you and I have had some talks about this.
Uh-huh.
And I always thought UNLV had the top NIL budget in the Mountain West. Am I wrong?
I think they do. Well, we'll talk about this on the way back. I mean, there are decisions to be made. Could UNLV have afforded Anthony Calandria? Yes. Would it have been a large part of the overall budget? Yes. So that's why they made the move. I think they have a price for quarterbacks, and that's about what they're going to pay. And Jackson Arnold came in under that price.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Ray Brewer's in studio at our Finley Toyota Studios. It's Cofield Willie's up in a couple of minutes. Willie Ramirez is on the show today as well. Ray, what's going on with the Las Vegas Sun in terms of coverage coming up? Because high school football season and fall sports season is closer than anyone would even believe. And I saw you had mentioned the other day on Twitter, and this isn't necessarily this season coming up, but Paige Sinicki, who was one of your award winners, and you shouted her out. And this is a pretty crazy story.
Yeah, so she was like probably the greatest softball player I've seen in person. Went to Oregon, had a pretty great career at Oregon, and now she plays in that professional league. I think it's like the ASUL or whatever. You see it on ESPN, and I'm watching the other day, and it's like, oh, Paige Sinicki's back, and she just beat breast cancer. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know she had breast cancer. What an awesome story I've said it 1,000 times, but, it's our village here in Las Vegas, and, I didn't even know one of our own was sick, but for her to overcome that, get back on the softball field where she's had so much success and represent our community, pretty cool. And, I got to know her and her dad, and really great Henderson family, so super happy for them.
When do you start rocking and rolling with high school football?
So tomorrow, Case Kiefer and I, we're going to tape our first, high school football podcast, and got the top 10 coming out in 2 Mondays from now, and we're rocking and rolling, baby. So it's a fun time of the year, and the thing I love about this, Steve, is everybody is optimistic. They think they're going to have a winning season. You don't talk to one person that's like, listen, we don't got a quarterback, or we only got 4 linemen. I don't know what we're going to do, but everybody's pretty excited.
That's cool. Ray Brewer, Las Vegas Sun, is up on Cofield and Company, ESPN Reno and ESPN Las Vegas. One more thing to look back on Mountain West Conference Media Day. I had a really good long conversation for about 19 minutes with Jeff Choate, the Wolfpack coach. And he tried to take me to task for misquoting him, but I don't think I really did. I brought it up to him because you remember last year before the game, the Cannon game, he complained that UNLV has as he put it, every frickin' advantage. And he laid it out as to why he talked about that, and I kind of knew why he did it. Where are you on Choate and his chances to win at Nevada? Because I don't want to use the term make or break, but that program has enough of a standard over the years, and it just has not been great lately, that I don't know that they can tolerate another 3-win season.
Yeah, I think he's at the point where it's bowl game or bust. They're in a real interesting situation because they've had just a great, I don't know if great's the right word, but they're very competent, and over the years they've had, Colin Kaepernick, Cody Fajardo, who's doing really good in the CFL. The years before they even got up to Division I, they were a successful program. They produced the likes of like Brandon Marshall, and then to just have year after year of not being bowl eligible. And that coincides with NIL, and they just don't have the money to invest in building a roster, and it's unfortunate because you look at their roster and there's not a ton of like 3-star kids or 4-star kids. Right. There's a lot of question marks. And
but Ray,
yes, sir.
First of all, high school seniors are not getting opportunities they used to get.
Absolutely.
And this is another thing Cho talked about, and I admire him for saying it, openly, because a lot of people took it the wrong way, where he said, hey, you come here, we get you ready, and you can be a $1.4 million player at Oregon. Now, that basically sounded like, hey, we're a farm system, but you can now take advantage of, but you got to be good at personnel. You can now take advantage of offers not being made to a lot of high school kids, so you can get some gems that way. The portal also exists. The other thing is, and I mean, I did it delicately with Choate, like, you have to nail the quarterback. You can't miss on the quarterback every year, and that's what killed them the first couple of years. So, hey, the guy they chose is Luke Duncan, a 6'7" player from UCLA, and he needs to work out. Like, he better work out, or they're probably bound for another 3 or 4 win season. And the other thing is, coaching situations. They got to win more of the close games because they lost some coin flip games last year.
So the other hiccup is if you're going to lean heavy on high school players, UNR is not getting the blue chip guys to go up there. It's the best of the 3 stars that they could identify that they think they could develop.
Do you think down in Southern Nevada it's quieted down a lot for Nevada?
Yes, absolutely.
So kids aren't going up there like they used to.
I first of all, I'm not in love with I love UNLV with all my heart, right? And it's tough sometimes to detail what's good about UNR, but that's a true college town, Steve, right?
Oh,
it's a true
be careful,
college
my
town,
friend. Be
where
careful.
UNLV is a commuter town, and if you want that true college experience, and they got nothing else up there. So when UNR football is hot, like when they beat Boise State, like the Thanksgiving Day or the day after Thanksgiving 15 years ago, those guys are like the kings. And when you walk out of the airport, there's UNR stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And there's a lot that's attractive about that area. It's close to Northern California. Lake Tahoe is beautiful. Nobody could dispute that. There's a lot to sell about that university. But in this era of NIL, you're just not getting – they haven't been able to figure that out. And if you look what UNLV's done so well is they've taken guys like Jackson Woodard from top conferences, and those guys have panned out when they've dropped down to a lower level. And you look at the UNLV roster, they've got guys that were at West Virginia or TCU or Alabama, and they've thrived dropping down a level. And I don't think UNR's done a good enough job finding those reclamation projects that could come in, do it for a year, or come in for their 5th year just trying to ball out.
Ray Brewer is with us, Las Vegas Sun, covers high school sports, covers the local scene, covers UNLV. He'll be at a UNLV football practice when it starts up next week. We get first media availability on the 28th. How was your trip to Alaska?
Well, thank you for asking. Alaska was great. It was a little – I packed wrong.
Oh, no.
Well, it says it's going to be like 60 degrees, and I'm thinking, okay, 60 and sunny, I'm your guy. I'm going to do like golf shorts, pull over, a thing I love. And every day, rain and wind. And if you look at our pictures, my son's got jeans on and a sweater, my daughter, my wife, and here I am with these shorts and this jacket, like all freezing up. And then we're doing like nature walks. There's trees and animals and skunks and, watch out for bear signs. And I'm just like, oh my God, if he gets into my leg, something could be crazy here. So
did you have hiking boots or you just go with sneakers?
No, I just went. I had a nice pair of tennis shoes.
What a nightmare. Come on, Ray.
It was good. And first of all, great to spend time with family. Great to get out of the Vegas heat. Great to go to some of these towns. We had like crab legs like right out of the water, which we've had plenty of crab legs at buffets here, but
not the same.
Not the same. It's better and fresh. And the cool thing is when you're on a cruise, they got like teen clubs for the kids or age-appropriate clubs for my daughter. So
nice.
You eat dinner, everything. There's food coming at you prepaid for the whole time. Your kids go to these clubs, and you and your wife could go to a show or have a drink or do whatever you want. And then at the end of the night, everybody huddles back in the room.
Nice. Well, it sounds like a good decision to go on a cruise to Alaska.
Thank you, sir.
I might have to do that. You're the second person I know who's maybe third person who's highly recommended a cruise to Alaska. Ray Brewer's with us here on Cofield and Company. Ray, what do you consider your roots, your home area? Where is it?
I'm born
if it's
in.
Not
you
Vegas.
mean where my parents are from, or where I'm from?
Where your parents are from? Where your family's from?
My dad is from Steubenville, Ohio. Big Red, loves Big Red. My mom's from Weirton, West Virginia.
Oh wow!
It's just right across the street from each other, and it's close to Pittsburgh, and it's a hardworking steel mill community. And proud. My dad is the most proud Steubenville person you've met. We're talking Dean Martin, Jimmy the Greek, and he'll rave for years about it.
What's your connection to that area, or your family's connection in terms of food?
Well, are you talking about the great pizza we have there?
I'm asking you what you consider your great food in those areas, yeah.
Well, so they got a place called the Carlos,
Yeah.
which has the square pizza, which is like you cook it and it comes out and you throw the cheese on top. And it comes in this square box and you open it and the cheese is kind of like half melted and it's very crispy and it's good. And then there's a place in downtown Steubenville that has they're called meatball hills. So they take the hill of like an Italian roll and they stuff it with meatballs. And it's very good. It's very fatty. Everybody there is fat.
Yes. Well, they're stout. We'll use a nice word. They're stout. Yeah. They're stout. They're thick.
Yes.
They're sturdily built. Do you ever go back?
So we've been back maybe 3 or 4 times as a family.
Yeah.
When my wife and I first got married, we had our son. We went back so she could meet some of my relatives and, go to a Pirate game, walk across the Clemente Street Bridge. It's great. And we went for Christmas maybe 6 or 7 years ago, which was fun.
Yeah. Ohio's fun. It has good food.
Good food.
I mean, no one likes my. Actually, no. I finally found someone who liked Cincinnati chili. Second person who likes Cincinnati chili. I know it's very, very. Even in the state of Ohio, it's very debated.
So that's on the opposite part of the state.
Yeah.
And
you guys are much more. Ohio is a lot more split than people realize. And
correct.
Where you are is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It is there. It's. Although you told me in the past, Steubenville is it Steelers or is it split?
Steelers.
Yeah, it's all
100% Steelers. Cincinnati
They're
is
smart.
kind of like Reno to Vegas, if you know what I mean.
I get it.
So, yeah.
I get it. Okay. Last minute, Ray, because I like having Ray in to chime in on what's going on locally with stadiums and arenas, and we'll get to MLS, and we'll get an update on the Whitecaps and a World Cup follow-up when we talk to you in a couple of weeks. I don't know if you saw the project, the Diamond Arena, that was supposed to, tentatively they're talking about building it on the site that had the alternate Ferris wheel, the Skyview Ferris wheel. Well, we just found out today Clark County approved a casino project there. So I wonder what's going to go right across from Mandalay Bay. What would you favor?
Did you see the photos of it's like a heart-shaped hotel or something?
I saw the photos, and I immediately typed in a search because I'm like, I think this might be a joke. But it's not. I mean, it is. That might not be the hotel that is built, but the plan, there is approval for a casino project.
So for me, everybody needs to get on the same page with the NBA arena. Let's identify a project. Let's get it done. Sports tourism is working. It's helping our economy, and we cannot lose this opportunity with competing bids and interests and ideas. Let's just identify one and roll to the finish line.
Ray, good close. He can hear the music. He's a pro. Ray, thank you. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Steve and Willie.
Ray Brewer, 21, LasVegasSun.com, Las Vegas Sun up on Twitter.
Live from the Findlay Toyota Studios, it's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
5 o'clock hours here. It's brought to you by our friends at Battleborn Injury Lawyers. 766-1400 is the number. Call from anywhere in the state of Nevada. Number 766-1400. Battleborn Injury Lawyers with Matt Hoffman and Justin Watkins. Willie Ramirez is here on this Thursday. Much to get into. Willie, we want to get back to the WNBA. I know we're going to hook up here with Cindy Brunson in just a second. A lot of headlines to talk about. I want to get back to that whole Diamond Arena and that piece of property that was going to be the Skyview Ferris wheel. I think that's a pretty interesting update. Tom Brady news in, so a lot to get to in this 5 o'clock hour, Willie.
Yeah, and I am excited to catch up with my friend Cindy. Her and I have been collabing on something she's been helping me with, and we'll talk about it when we get her on. And as you mentioned, I mean, just so much going on, Steve. It's just wild. And I will give a little teaser, and I thought that maybe we'd be able to bring it back in time for today. But I just, as you were talking with Ray, I stepped out for a minute and had a chance to sit down and talk and record. And hopefully we can run this back tomorrow. Marlon Wayans was in the building today, and man, we got into some deep conversations about a lot of stuff. It was very cool to talk to him about so many things because we're nearly the same age, and a lot of the producers and directors that I brought up with him, and he talked about being a sports. I said, "Are you a sports fan?" He said, "Not really. I'm more of a hater." And I was like, "A sports hater?" He said, "No, I like to hate against." If everybody's cheering for one side, I like to go on and antagonize. So basically, he's a rage baiter. It sounds like. So I said, so basically, you will be the anti of wherever LeBron. He goes, I can't wait till they sign. He signs and root for the other side. So he was a lot of fun though. We touched upon a lot of stuff. So I will be sending that over to you, and you can review it, and hopefully we can run some of it back tomorrow. Because man, what a great interview!
Yeah, it's coming up tomorrow on Cofield and Company, Friday edition with Willie and myself. You sent over a note on LeBron. Who cares? I understand that there is LeBron fatigue, although I don't think it's been covered that much. Maybe on the Talking Head shows on ESPN, but I am interested to see where he goes, and I'm excited about the what appeared to be a leak yesterday, unless it was a practical joke, but a leak by the Miami Heat about some sort of press conference on. I think it was a link up on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think the East needs an infusion, and the Knicks are the defending champion, but even more unpredictability in the East, I think is going to be a great story this year if LeBron lands with the Heat. And if he lands in Cleveland, do they have a shot to make the finals? Maybe. It's not where I would go, but I also understand that that's where the heart is, so possibly. But he's got deep connections to Pat Riley, so Miami would be an awesome spot too.
Yeah, and now when I said who cares, what I don't mean like who cares where LeBron goes. Nobody cares. What I mean is it's the who cares of the anticipation of the everyday waking up. Is it going to be like, come on, when it happens, like I'm not sitting there. I'm not the person complaining that he hasn't signed yet. Right. And the powers that be of the NBA that are sitting back waiting for him to sign so they can make their television schedule. Get over yourself. On opening night, it's a real simple solution for me. Make your doubleheader, and if he happens to go to Miami, it's a coup. But make it Miami against the defending champion New York Knicks on banner-raising, ring-getting night. Giannis is there, and if LeBron goes, then it's a bonus. And on the West Coast, you got the San Antonio Spurs and OKC, a rivalry that we're going to continue to see. For seasons to come, with two young, great players that are going to be vying for the MVP trophy every single year. There's your opening night. And as far as Christmas Day, I mean, if you got 10 teams to pick from for 5 games, just include the 3 or 4 that you think he's going to and get over it. So, I mean, I'm just kind of over. I want to see where he's going to go. I want to see where he's going to end his career. I personally think he should. I'm not predicting he's going to Cleveland. I would like to see him go there, because I think that's where he'll walk in the Hall of Fame wearing that jersey, and I just think it would be great if he could bring one more back there. I personally don't think his legacy gets any better or gets any worse wherever he goes, and regardless of whether he wins another championship. I just don't. I think LeBron is what he is, and that is one of the greatest ever basketball players, and in some people's eyes, at a younger age, the GOAT. If not, he's still one of the best to ever do it. That I've said this time and time again, that when it comes to LeBron versus Michael, the one area he's got on many, if not every single basketball player, there's not much we can say about LeBron away from the court as a human being, a father, and a husband. That dude is the model citizen who's done everything that he possibly can for every community that he has touched. So let's just get over the fact that something's going to change where he goes. He's going to always be one of the best ever.
Yeah, it's funny those factors aren't brought in about LeBron not getting in trouble, not having issues. Now, maybe he's been a master of masking things that go on, but he's a guy who is still playing into his 40s and is in premium shape. Well, there's a reason. One, he cares about his conditioning, and he's not being sidetracked by, 1, womanizing, and 2, rampant gambling. So for the greatest ever, for many people, that was a challenge.
3.
And LeBron has not allowed that to distract him. Now, the opening night thing, and give me a heads up when we have Cindy. Yes. Okay. Okay. That's a good point. I keep screwing that up. I don't know why. I don't know why I have this mental block. Cindy Brunson's coming up at 5:25. You could have just said it on the air. But
Okay.
For opening night, what I would do is listen. I guess the defending champ should be playing on opening night. Oh, that's a good topic right there. Should be playing on opening night, but I would actually have. I guess this could be a little gamble if he chooses neither. No. I would come up with. I would have Golden State playing the Spurs, and I would have the Cavs and the Heat play.
Okay.
So those are the three spots, I think, unless the wild card comes in with the Sixers.
I just don't think he's going to Golden State. I think the three spots.
Well, I'm doing that as a backup.
Right.
I'm doing that as the ultimate backup.
I think the three are Cleveland, Philly, and Miami. I think he's going back east, and I think he's going. It's an Eastern Conference team. And yes, it's somewhere where he wants to win a title. Do I agree with title chasing? No. But again, that's not for me to judge.
I don't know. Is this title chasing? If you are 41 and you're going to be a second or third option and you get to pick where you want to go, aren't you naturally going to go somewhere where you can compete for a title? Why
100%.
would you? I mean, God love him, and I don't know why I said that, but hey, if he wants to be loyal, if I were Steph Curry, I would have moved on. They don't have a chance to win a title. So good for him that he stayed loyal. But if he's had opportunities, I would have moved on. So, and people out there who are like, oh, it's ring chasing. I want to be part of a winner. Why am I playing at 41, 42 years old if I can't win?
But wait a minute. In my opinion, outside of some injury-plagued seasons, if San Francisco is a destination point for LeBron because it's an attractive, that means that he's going to try to win a title with Steph and Draymond, right? Well, why would Steph leave a town that's always in the mix? That's he's staying there to chase a ring with a team that's always contending.
But they haven't.
Right? But if they haven't, it's because of injuries.
Yeah, they haven't had. They got old, and they didn't do. They didn't manage the draft very well. They haven't had a great infusion of young guys, and then when they've had young guys, they don't want to pay them. It's just been. You're right. Well, listen, injuries are part of it. Go to a healthier team. I mean, if you want to stay loyal and they want to pay Draymond Green $35 million a year for 50 games a year, then you made that decision. You know that Draymond is not going to play the entire season.
There are. I would say this. To bring LeBron in is a bigger risk with an older team where you could bring like you brought Luka over from Dallas to the Lakers and he becomes the face of the Lakers with a legend, but now the ball goes through and the offense goes through and the offense is in the hands of the new face of the franchise. Then Golden State should be going after a young stud who can now carry the torch for Stephen Curry, rather than taking a risk. And now you got three guys who, can they stay healthy? What if one of them goes down? Now you're back to having a two-man show. I just don't think that's going to work there. I like the idea of going to Cleveland just because you have the experience and the veteran leadership behind LeBron and then Harden, and then you got Donovan Mitchell. And if you go to Miami, I don't know if the dynamic works with Giannis, but if LeBron's willing to take that far of a backseat, because that's a huge jump. I don't care who he played against. I mean, Giannis is huge, but
by the way, he's very, from a lineup standpoint, he's very miscast is not the right word, but on the Heat, he literally will be playing like point forward because their guards are so young and so inexperienced. He'll be playing a lot of guard, and that's not necessarily what I want to see from LeBron. By the way, I should be fair to Draymond Green. He's not playing 50 games a year. He's been dinged up. And the year that Steph went down, he took some games off. But he's played his last 3 years. He's played 55, 68, and 68. So it's not 82.
No,
it's not 82. But so I don't know. I'm excited to see where he goes, and also is explained by at least one NBA insider, according to his theory. LeBron is slow playing his decision to see if any of his suitors can land a blockbuster deal to potentially bring in a guy who he played with in the past, like AD or like Kyrie Irving. So I'll say, what's the rush? Adam Silver sort of lit a fire under the whole thing with his comments last week. But for fans, listen, the fans most fans who say they don't care where LeBron lands, they wouldn't have cared if he made the decision on day 1. So they're not going to care on day 37. They don't like him. They want him out of the league. They think the league's going to be better. And I guess the wealth will be spread by the media and the internet. But trust me, you're going to miss LeBron when he's gone. There'll be other guys to step up. But this fatigue, I don't know. I just, as guys get older, at one point, I thought they were a really easy team to hate. I didn't like GSW. Have I come to appreciate Draymond a little more? A scintilla, but I've really come to appreciate, even though I found him to be incredibly arrogant. I've come to appreciate over the years, especially with the Olympic play, Steph Curry is ridiculous. And as guys get older, I almost want to embrace them more. Who the hell was I talking about the other day? Oh, I surprised a bunch of people saying that I feel bad for Floyd Mayweather. You can be around villains in sports, and when they get older and things go wrong for them, or in the case of LeBron, he's still playing, and he's still able to help the Lakers win a playoff series, and he's still a top 25 player in the league at 41 years old. I think you can appreciate that, but there are people out there who, once they become a hater of someone, they can't let it go.
You know who one of those people are? William Ramirez Sr.
Okay.
My father does not like LeBron James for one reason. The decision.
Oh, my God.
And I've told him time
Isn't
and
it
time.
amazing?
I've told him time and time again, Dad, I don't think you understand what went behind that. And realistically, ESPN was behind that more than LeBron, number one. Number two, he agreed to it only if the proceeds could benefit his charter schools that benefited kids in his hometown. Did you know that? I don't like him anyway. Oh, yeah. Okay. So he'll bring it up to this day as if he's never told me that either. I'll say, oh, yeah, I was on ESPN today. Dad did the show with Cofield. Hey, what'd you talk about? LeBron. I don't like him. And you know why I don't like him, William?
I do.
And
yes, I do, Dad.
No,
yes.
No, when they get that age, you have to go, no, tell me. Same with my mom. He could have told me 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, and he's got to tell me again, a long time ago, he decided to do this decision on TV. I don't know if you remember this, William. And I'm like, yes, Dad, I remember.
Let's get to a little football here because we got this week is SEC Media Day. Next week is Big Ten Media Day, and then everyone starts going into camp. So there's a lot of narratives coming out of SEC Media Day. We'll get to the mouth of the South, Greg Sankey, the commissioner, in a couple of minutes. The guys that crack me up are the guys who toiled, I'll use that word, at Group of Six and fought for respect and talked about being disrespected. And then as soon as they land in a Power 4 like the SEC, then they're all, SEC. I'm going to tell you what John Summerall was talking about with the SEC. But the Florida coach, they do a big deal at the SEC Media Day, which is, in Tampa. So they have him up on the big stage. And apparently someone's phone went off. You're not going to hear it here, but here's Summerall as he's trying to make a point, and then all of a sudden he gets sidetracked because he hears a phone ringing.
How things were going to unfold, and you would be kicked out of our team meeting. I swear, you're lucky I'm not going to throw this freaking podium right now. It drives me crazy. I would say who is that, but I'm not going to embarrass anybody. But no.
We okay with that? He was mostly lighthearted.
It was.
But he was kind of serious, too. He's like, mother.
It happens. It's happened. It's happened plenty of times here. I think
it does happen.
I think that some of the greatest responses I've ever seen are in the film room at the Golden Knights facility. 1 by Kelly McCrimmon, 2 by Marc-Andre Fleury.
Really?
Yeah, when the phone's gone off and we put it up on the podium or underneath.
Yeah. That's a rough one because you're trying to get sound with your recorder on the phone. Yeah,
one time a phone went off and it was the former beat writer Dave Shane, and I can't remember if it was a text message or the phone, and Fleury looked. He goes, "Oh no, should I get it for you?" Another time, it was either an Amber Alert or the emergency like it went off and just started, that siren went off. And
do me a favor.
Yeah.
Your phone is there.
Yeah, I got it.
Call me right now. Let's see. I have gotten to the point where I am truly old guy, and I can't figure out how to mute this G-damn thing. Oh, I did it correctly. It's just vibrating.
Good, because I will say this.
Because it goes off. It goes off every day during the show. My alarms go off every day during the show.
I was
gonna line up a topic and say, hey, where's the most embarrassing place you've had your phone go off? And some of the topics included, funeral, wedding, your live show. And I'm like, yep. I have now become 56, going on 78 years old. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then because then I have the ringer off. And then I can't remember to put it back on right after the show, and it's like I missed call. I'm a nightmare.
I've noticed lately your phone's gone off a lot.
Oh, a lot. It's a disaster. Here's
the thing.
We really need a what's it called? The freaking a fine court. You guys should be fining me for the stupid phone.
Well, here's the thing. The immediate thing that I think of when I see it, I look and I just kind of laugh. I'm like, oh man, I laugh with you, like, oh dude, you forgot to, but then I automatically think two things. One is, if that was us, we look through we're looking at each other on the street. You go.
I know.
Or sometimes I'm sitting here and I'll go and I'm doing this and you'll go, because you can hear my
the keys
tapping.
are a little loud. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, I brought up earlier to Brandy the curmudgeon. Yeah, we have to teach you temperament. Tolerance.
Do as I say. Not as I do. I'm an old, doddering fool, but I have rules of being annoyed, so I'm going to get better at that. Now that I saw John Summerall almost throw the podium, here's the great thing about that, where he goes, it's John Summerall, the coach of Florida. He's a new coach of Florida, and he came over from Tulane. Great thing about that is, he's like, I'm not going to out the person. Truth be told, you know what happened? Someone left their phone and their computer at a spot in one of the front rows. They weren't there. So other people had to lean over and mute it. Like, who are you going to out? He's not here, or she's not here.
Mm. Well, and the thing is, when someone does that and says that, in this day and age where everybody's got their phone ready, guess what? Somebody's going to eventually out that person. Someone's eventually putting that person on blast. They're going to take that quote, take that video clip of him saying that, and then they're going to quote tweet it. They're going to put it, and they'll go, the person he was talking about was Steve Cofield of ESPN Las Vegas or whatever, Willie Ramirez. They're getting outed now anyway mainly because you pointed out and said, I'm not going to out that person. Now someone's going to out that person.
I will say that was more than forgivable. He has a right to be annoyed that a phone's going off. But this is what annoys me about a guy like this. And he did play in the SEC, but he was just coaching at Tulane. He said, in my opinion, there's a clear delineation. Good word. I mean, I don't know if you got that from Kentucky. You probably got it from Tulane. There's a clear delineation. There's a power two. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I think there's clearly a power two. So here we go, pumping up the SEC and pumping up the Big Ten. Do you think he said that publicly last year or the year before when he was coaching a group of 6? And by the way, not to be mean, because we know the way Florida works, is he going to say that 5 years from now after he's blown out at Florida after 3 years because they're completely intolerant and are not winning 9 or 10 games and competing for national championships and back in the CFP on a regular basis? Is he going to have the same attitude? I don't believe that these coaches, especially when they're on top of the mountaintop in the SEC and the Big Ten, need to beat the drum for those conferences. Cut it out. It's this constant effort by everyone to talk about how great their conference is, and it's like, you don't need to do that.
I don't know if this is true.
And you're insulting kids that aren't in that conference, and you know the difference between your kids and kids in the other 2 Power Fours and a group of 6. There is not much of a difference. Cut it out.
2 parts to this. One is, I'm not going to accuse the SEC of this, but when you get to that conference, if they push this narrative, but I do remember when we started using the phrase "power this" and "group of that." I'm not going to.
Yep.
Let me use this phrase. I'm not going to out this person, but I will say, someone from the Mountain West specifically asked me when I saw an opportunity to pump up the Mountain West and knock the AAC to do so because they were now in a duel and they wanted to make sure. And I'm telling you right now, you and I both know the person, but I'm not going to say it on the air, but so a lot of times these conferences are feeding the media, the coaches, hey, let's bump it up. The other thing to your point about knocking.
And by the way, I'm going to jump in here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the Mountain West Pac-12 thing. That's going to be a whole thing for the next couple of years. I ain't doing it. I think it's stupid. They're the same conference, essentially, and they should be together. This pissing match between the fans and the Sultan, I'm not doing it. And coaches want to make smart remarks. I'm out. I think it's stupid.
To your point also about knocking and putting those kids down that aren't in those two conferences, does that mean that next year you're not going to go in the portal and get any of those kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
That delineation?
Right.
Well, are they no good now?
You're not going to steal from below because you bet your ass you're going to. If you need a quarterback, because that's what the SEC did this year. They went and got 3 and 4 quarterbacks from the AAC.
Yeah.
Obviously, at Nebraska, well, they were all ready to take UNLV's quarterback a level below. Clearly, we're better, but we're going to grab their quarterback. So they have. You're right. That's a great point. They have no issues going into the portal and grabbing guys from. Clearly, we're the best too. Okay, well then stop recruiting the other conferences. Giveaway time here. And then we're going to get into a little WNBA. Some of the biggest stories with the All-Star Weekend here. AC/DC is playing in September. These are 2 tickets before you can buy them. When the tickets are on sale, you go to Ticketmaster.com if you don't win these. James will hook you up with AC/DC at Allegiant in September. 2 tickets, 364-1100, caller 7.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Halfway point of the final hour here on Cofield and Company. Willie Ramirez, WNBA All-Star Weekend is upon us, Willie, and we wanted to break it down.
Definitely, and we've already talked to Exavier Pope, our weekly Chicago guest, but we have a very special guest joining us, a legendary broadcaster who has touched down in Chicago. I feel as if her wardrobe belongs on the orange carpet, one of the best to ever do it. Cindy Brunson joining us now. My dear friend Cindy, how are you?
Oh, Willie, thank you so much. The Venmo address is still the same, right, my friend? That was nice.
I thought we were doing Zelle these days.
Okay, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Appreciate you. I don't know that my wardrobe matches some of the stuff that I have seen because, I work with a personal shopper. I don't have my own stylist. Like these players today, they leave nothing to chance. They look like they just stepped off the runway in Milan, for Pete's sake. It's crazy, and I love it.
Speaking of stylists, I'll do a shameless plug. I don't mind it, but I'm going to, and you're familiar, Sydney Page, who does up AZ Fudd, Chelsea Gray, Skylar Diggins, and Andrea Carter. I have a big piece coming out. I've been working on it for more than a month, so I can't wait.
Ooh.
Did you attend the orange carpet? What did you see, or what are you looking forward to seeing most?
I did not attend the orange carpet. I am on my way to another event. There is so much going on here in Chicago related to the W. When I landed and checked into the hotel, pop on the local news real quick just to see what's happening. And WNBA was the second story in sports after Patrick Kane re-signing with the Blackhawks. Like I thought I was in a dream world. Like this is exactly how the WNBA should be treated. And I love to see it.
And you have your finger on the pulse. You have completely had my back on a huge project that I've been working on. Talk about a historian when it comes to the WNBA. You could talk about it frontward, back, backward, front. Cindy, this is the 30th anniversary of the league. Can you believe where it has evolved and where it's at, and define it for us?
This is just incredible, and I'm so glad that so many folks are now paying attention because, Willie, for me, you've heard me say this multiple times, the product has never been the problem. It was the promotion. And now that the promotion is meeting these athletes where they are and giving casual fans an opportunity to join the party, it has just exploded exponentially. And I'm so thrilled for all the hardworking players, coaches, everybody associated with all of the teams that have gotten us to this point. We still have plenty of room to grow. They're adding teams. The talent level this season in season 30 is the best I have seen it. Every corner of the league has a superstar either happening or waiting to emerge.
You and I had a recent conversation about Breanna Stewart. This is somebody who came in. She was in her own era when she was with Seattle, playing with Sue Bird and Jewel Lloyd and that particular unit that won championships. She goes to the Liberty, and now all of a sudden, Asia Wilson brings a new era, and Stewie still continues to be great and in the MVP conversation. And now we can arguably say we're on to the Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark era, yet Asia is still in her peak, but yet we're still talking about Stewie. Are these eras coming too fast?
They're not coming too fast for me. I think we had a 4 or 5 era, right? When Stewie dominates college and wins 4 championships in 4 years. She only lost 5 games total at UConn. I mean, wrap your mind around that. Then she comes to the W and just gives Seattle championship after championship and says, you know what? I want to go home. I want to be in New York. Gets Liberty its first championship in WNBA history, one of the original 3 franchises still standing along with Phoenix and Los Angeles. That's unbelievable. But after we saw Aaliyah Boston come into the league, right before her, Sabrina Ionescu, 2020, the COVID year, she was hurt as a rookie. She started out like gangbusters and then was hurt. Then we had Charlie Collier from Texas, 21. She kind of fell off the map. But since then, it's been Boston and then a slew of guards. And I think now we are in, to your point, this guard era with AZ, with Paige. It has just been so fun. And now Olivia Miles, Sydney Taylor reminding everybody, hey, I could hoop at Louisville. I was looked over as I was coming out of college, went to Europe, got my stuff sorted. Here we go, bingo, bango, bongo. And she just put up her second 30-point game of the season. So, like I said, there is talent everywhere, and it is so exciting night in and night out.
Yeah, we're speaking with Cindy Brunson, legendary broadcaster, still doing her thing in the college ranks and making appearances wherever. So, I mean, I can't wait for the college season. If you've never listened to Cindy call a game, the vernacular is it. Cindy is a planet unto herself, and I don't say that because she's my close friend. To listen to Cindy is an education. So tune in this college season. Can't wait. Cindy, let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing in a negative aspect in terms of the fandom. And if you got a positive post about Angel, we're hearing about Caitlin. If it's a positive post about Paige, we're hearing about Caitlin. If it's a positive post about Caitlin, we're hearing about everybody else. How much are the fans distracting from the greatness we're witnessing?
It's frustrating, right? Because instead of talking about Olivia Miles setting records, Paige Beckers setting records, like Caitlin just set records 2 years ago, and they are already falling. Like, that is crazy. And we're not talking about that because, to Adam Silver's point, commissioner of the NBA, Caitlin has become a political football. I would argue Angel Reese has become a racial football. And folks just can't divest themselves from their tribal instincts, and they bring it to the game, unfortunately. And then you factor in the betting angle. You're in Sin City. You know how the money moves. And so some of the players are getting backlash because, you know, Bob at home didn't get his parlay. Like, it's, again, it's just part of the amplification, right, and the exposure. And these are just growing pains. And I'm hoping that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert will get her arms around this, create a cyber unit for the WNBA so everything can funnel through one clearinghouse and we can clear out the bad actors online.
Cindy Brunson's with us here on ESPN Las Vegas, Cofield and Willie. One more thing on Caitlin Clark, you know, all the noise and the negativity, because right now people are focused on technical fouls. And meanwhile, I think they're missing the fact that this squad that apparently was going to break up, and Stephanie White and Clark couldn't coexist. They've won 5 of 6. They've scored 100 points 13 times this year. They just scored 100 points or more 3 games in a row. she's on a run where she's averaging 29 points a game and shooting like 49% from three. They have kind of figured out how they can have her on the floor. They can play enough defense, and their offense is ridiculous right now.
Yeah, and it's incredible because Stephanie White is known for defense. So the fact that she has put together this juggernaut offensively is very impressive. Caitlin's best asset for me, and it always has been this, is her ability to pass the basketball. And that's what makes her so dangerous, and that's what opens things up for Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey is having the season of her life, career highs across the board, and she's flirting with 50, 40, 90 as well. So what runs problematic for Indiana is when they face top competition. When they get to the top of the table with Minnesota, Golden State, Aces, Wings, the Dream went to their place and knocked them in the face. They're really good at beating teams that either aren't in the playoffs or barely hanging on to a playoff spot. Now, after the All-Star break, we will measure what Caitlin and company is really doing because they'll be battling for playoff spots. Right now, I don't want the standings to change because we have a 4-5 matchup with the Wings and the Fever, and I want to see that. I want to see Paige and Caitlin toe-to-toe.
You speak of the Fever, and when they do play the top-tier teams, one of the teams you mentioned, though, they have sort of owned, and that's the Aces. For the local fans here, let's talk about the Aces. They take 8 days off after the Fever smoke them. They go to Toronto. They handed a very banged-up Tempo team that's missing Brittany Sykes, it's missing Kiki Rice, and that day missing Sandy Brundello. And then they go to Washington, and I was asked this earlier today, hey, is there something to worry about? No, Washington's the youngest team in the league, but you know what? That's a talented team. The Aces, after the All-Star weekend, why can't we ever count out A'ja Wilson? Please explain this to the concerned fans, Cindy.
You can never count out A'ja Wilson because there is not a hungrier player in the league or on the planet, in my opinion. It's a reason why she is the first 4-time WNBA MVP. When she gets introduced at All-Star, the accolades, it's going to take the public address announcer 5 minutes to read. Like, it's ridiculous. Her resume is just so stout. And her 38 points against Washington wasn't quite enough. But it speaks to when the Mystics can hit their threes and shore up what goes on in the paint with Shakira Austin and Kiki Irifen, that team will wreck folks. They just will, because they don't know any better, right? They're so young, and they just run into these victories of, oh, people are counting us out. Well, check this, and Lauren Betts is getting fired up and the whole thing. So there's a dynamic there with Washington where you don't want to have to play that team if a trip to the postseason is on the line. But the Aces are in the 3 spot, which means they've got home court advantage. Michelob Ultra will be lit up like a Christmas tree, as it always is. And I expect Las Vegas, at a bare minimum, to make it to the semifinals, if not the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Lauren Betts. I think there's 3 players that you and I are, we were along the ride for 4 years, especially with Kiki Rice. But Kiki, Lauren Betts, and Gabriela Jaquez, I mean, that UCLA Bruins team. We were waiting for Kiki's senior year, Cindy. We talked about it, and sure enough, and now they're in the W. But how about this? The team that's been the best since day one, oh, by the way, they just got probably the 2nd or 3rd best player in the world back, and she comes out and does a 20-10 double-double. Welcome back, Fee.
Yeah, 24-10. Like, just like it was nothing. Like there had been no surgeries, multiple surgeries, each ankle. Hello. Like, this wasn't, I stubbed my toe. This was major operations. Yeah, so scary times, right? Because you've got the spectacle and Olivia Miles running that show. And every veteran on that team says she's got this veteran savance about her. So she's got command of the room, and they are so good. And it just speaks to Lynn Reeve and her culture, right? She's been doing this for 15 years. She is the winningest coach in the WNBA for a reason. There is a Minnesota way of doing things, and she gets everybody, even the brightest and biggest stars like Nafisa Collier, to buy in. It is why they are comfortably atop of the table, and they have a 7-game win streak heading into the second half of the season.
So once again, speaking with Cindy Brunson, joining us here on Cofield and Company, ESPN Las Vegas. All right, we got to talk about a third team, because let me tell you something. When I was doing a story on which player could challenge Asia for MVP honors, and I went through the list of Paige Beckers, of Kelsey Mitchell, of Breanna Stewart. You know who I couldn't find among the odds out there for MVP? Nobody from Golden State. Yet Gabby Williams is up for Defensive Player of the Year. That means if the best player on the team for the second best team, and at one point was the hottest team and the best defensive team, Gabby Williams should be in the MVP conversation. How good is this Golden State team?
Golden State is scary because they take the air out of the basketball. They defend you so badly, it starts in the parking lot, right? Then you get uncomfortable in your locker room. And then by the time you get between 94 feet and 50, you don't know what you want to do or trust what you've ever done. That's Golden State. They are a defensive team, and I think that is because Natalie Nakase is just a ninja defensively. Her mindset is, we are just not going to let the other team have any sort of comfort on the offensive end. And I think that's why Gabby gets looked over in the MVP conversations, because she just doesn't put up big offensive numbers. Golden State as a team doesn't score a lot of points. They always hover around the 70s and the 80s, unlike, in Indiana, where it's just eye-popping so many games at the century mark where you just go, oh, there's got to be an MVP there because of the offense. So if Gabby actually hunted shots instead of let them come to her, I think she would rise in that conversation. And she's on everybody's radar now, too. So that's an evolution. And it speaks to my favorite part of the WNBA, and that is how we watch players grow and develop and add things to their bag. The player that we look at today, in Asia Wilson, did not leave South Carolina this way. She gets in the gym for the first 4 years, she didn't have a three-point shot in the WNBA. Now she's got a reliable three-point shot at 38%, and she just adds more tricks to her bag. And for me, it's the joyous part of watching this league year in and year out. It's to see what the players do differently year to year to elevate their game and make themselves better.
Cindy, tell us what we can expect and where we can look forward to hearing from you this fall when college basketball begins, because we are all looking forward to that play-by-play commentary. Where are we going to be?
Definitely University of Arizona home games. Joan Bombacini and I, my analyst extraordinaire, she's the winningest coach in Arizona women's basketball history, recruited Adia Barnes to the program, the all-time leading scorer. So we always chop it up in Tucson for a bunch of the home slate. So I'm looking forward to that. Just re-signed with NBC Peacock, so Big Ten package. I think some Big East there. And then TNT is also told me that they're going to hand me a schedule after Labor Day. So just out and about and around per usual, and I love it.
Well, I'm going to be lobbying for them to send you here for USC when they come out here for the doubleheader that they do every year. UNLV's involved. Love to see you come out here. Juju, Jazzy. We got Lindy LaRocque on the sidelines.
Ooh,
and, of course,
love it.
I'm here. So what else? I mean, come on now. The dynamic
Willie,
duo.
why didn't you start with that?
The Athletes Unlimited, the original Athletes Unlimited dynamic duo. Come on, with air swoops as the trifecta. Cindy, do me a favor. Two things. Number one, give Ari Chambers a big squeeze for me when you see her. Number two, please don't ever change. We need you.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate you. And we're doing Zelle, right?
She didn't forget. There you go. Cindy Brunson here on Cofield and Company, ESPN Las Vegas. If you are hanging out down on the Strip, hanging out locally, a great place to pre and post for any event is Jackson Bar and Grill, our friends over at 6020 West Flamingo. Flamingo and Jones, best value steak in town. In fact, just named by Tasting Table, one of the 7 best steaks in the country, under $30 is $22 on the garlic marinated bistro filet, $22 on the 1-pound ribeye. Of course, you get all the fixings with it. It's a tremendous place for their desserts. Check the whiteboard. That's awesome. I salivate every time I go in there for that. And Chef Lonnie's taking care of you. He's hand-cutting the steaks each and every morning. Great gaming specials, 24/7 happy hour. Check it out, Jackson's Bar and Grill, 6020 West Flamingo. That's at Flamingo and Jones.
Cofield and Company presents Grab Bag on ESPN Las Vegas.
Stick your hand in there, dude.
Willie and I will be back tomorrow for the 3 hours of Cofield and Company on a Friday, heading to the weekend. Willie, you sent me a story on Caitlin Clark and flopping and the technicals, and I thought Nancy Armour wrote a really interesting column. I think she took it a little too far, but that was pretty thought-provoking about the way Clark plays basketball and the impact it has on the internet. I'm not exactly sure what she's supposed to do, though, in terms of dialing it down from a competitive fire standpoint.
Yeah, it's funny because you have Christine Brennan, who is almost like a mouthpiece and PR piece for Caitlin Clark, but it's more or less using her avenue to be a shill for her own book that was never actually an authorized biography on Caitlin Clark. And then you have Nancy Armour, who's on the opposite end and is continually knocking Caitlin Clark. And I think she to a degree makes her point in the points that she's bringing up is one that took place here with Chelsea Gray, where they made contact, and it wasn't until Caitlin turned around, saw the shot, and then went down and started holding her stomach as if she got the wind knocked out of her. And then a few days later with Kia Stokes, and replays show that there was no way that there was that much of a contact, like a Charlie horse, where you remember getting punched in the side of the thigh by somebody to get a Charlie horse, and because the next play down, she's charging the ref, and we never saw a limp after that. So those were the points that she brought up. Now, she should have probably brought up other incidents in where she's not getting calls. The thing is, if you collectively go across the WNBA, Steve, and see the inconsistencies of the officiating, it makes sense. Caitlin Clark has points to a certain degree in certain games and certain aspects, but her overreactions have become out of control.
Nancy was basically suggesting that, hey, when you flop and fake and get crazy, you have to remember that there's a whole community out there that wants to use that to flamethrow other people, so you need to stop. And I'm like, that's too much. What athlete in the world has that sort of responsibility? No. I mean, that's crazy to put on someone who has an oddly rabid fan base.
A 24-year-old person.
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to win basketball games, and hey, guess what? Lately, they've been winning basketball games. By the way, I sent you a picture of some sushi I had today on the water.
Tremendous. Tremendous. I'm pissed.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, reminds me of the days of going to Gladstone's in Malibu.
Well, I tried to eat a little bit healthy because the rest of the trip has been pizza and hot dogs. And
nice.
By the way, you'd be very pleased that yesterday hit the Italian deli for a prep for the meal this weekend. Mom's cooking.
Yeah.
And she made sure to get a lot of braccio.
Forget about it.
I said, let's get the braccio.
You're embracing Dom DeLuise for sure. We started the show talking about it. You're ending the show talking about it. Let's go.